Joe Dispenza was kind of like my first mentor, even though I wasn't like going to his retreats or anything like that. But I started listening to his podcasts and talking about like the placebo effect. Like, do you remember? Do you ever hear him talk about that stuff?
I've never listened to much of his stuff. He's always been I've always been interested, and I wanted to read his book. Have you read his book?
Yes,
Supernatural.
Becoming Supernatural. Yeah. Read that, placebo effect, amazing. So it is really about like the cause and effect of your thoughts and your beliefs, and that just fascinated me because like his backstory was like he got hit by a semi. He was on his bike. He used to be a chiropractor.
Oh, okay.
And like he broke. I can't remember how many of those like T4, T5, T6 like
vertebrae.
Yeah, but like they're like the T whatever's.
Okay.
Anyways, he broke like 5 or 6 of them.
Okay.
The doctor said he would never walk, and like he'd have to get surgery, like metal plates put where his spine is, like those little T things.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we're gonna work with this. So he like meditated on it, like hours and hours every single day, and he physically healed his spine through the power of his mind. So I was like, that's fascinating. I want to sip on what he's sipping on. So I sipped his Kool-Aid. So, and the reason why I did that though is because like I was always angry every fucking day. Yeah. Like snapping on my partner, snapping on my son, and I was like, oh my god, I'm turning into my mom. Like I want, you know, like just like fuck that. So yeah, so that was kind of like my gateway into spirituality. And like in the beginning, because it was just like no one I knew was doing it. Yeah. I was hiding it. And like I would go into my bedroom with my little Headspace app, put my 5-minute timer on, and like meditate for 5 minutes, like close my door and like turn the lights off. And it was like right before bed, because this was the time that my partner was kind of like doing his own thing. Yeah. And like my son was asleep, and so like it wasn't like I was in my own space and time. Yeah. So like I was very like reserved and hidden
in the spiritual closet.
Yeah. In the spiritual closet.
Yeah, totally. So when you started doing them, like what did you notice in your life? Did it just like blow your mind like wide open, or?
Well, what I noticed was, let me remember here in the beginning. So in the beginning, it's like because of what I knew what was possible, because I learned, like I was like doing a lot of research and like, okay, yeah, like this is possible. Like I had the motivation and the inspiration and kind of had like a vision of where I could go with it. I didn't know what was going to happen though. Yeah. And when I started to do that, like weird shit would happen. Like meditation's really fucking powerful. Yeah. So like in the beginning it was just like just realizing how like holy shit, like I got a lot of fucked up thoughts that are spinning around in there. So first it's just becoming aware of what's actually happening in my brain. Yeah. And then realizing like, wow, I actually don't want to have these thoughts all the time. And then started to like get to a space of like not falling like victim to those thoughts anymore, and coming more into this place of like I started to find this like this quiet place inside of me. And the more I kept coming back to that quiet place, there was just like that, like it was bliss. Like I kept hitting this like peaceful aspect that I didn't know was there ever. Yeah. And that's when the weird shit started happening. Yep. I started to hit like these like heartgasms, like literally like poof, like my heart was like exploding with just like love. And that's when I got hooked. I was just like, this is possible. Like what just happened? And like who can I tell? And like there was no one I could tell. Yeah, no. So I was like, oh my god. And then there's other like really cool stuff that would happen. Like I would, you know, feel like I was in space and like, you know, like I was part of the world, but I wasn't part of the world, and like everything was like this like together in one. So like really weird stuff was happening. It's like I couldn't tell anyone because I was in the spiritual closet.
Exact same.
Yeah,
like meditation too. It was, I think, books and meditation. So like I was always a big book reader.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
And I started, I think one of the first ones for me was like a Doreen Virtue book. Have you ever heard of Doreen Virtue? She was like used to be really big into angels and angel communication and angel numbers and all that stuff. And I remember reading one of her books and just thinking it was like the most fascinating thing I'd ever read, and I was just like enthralled by it. And she's since like gone in kind of a very odd direction that I stopped like following her stuff. But yeah, so I started reading these books, and I was like, holy shit, this is just like so crazy.
Yeah.
And then I started in the meditation.
Yeah.
So I was doing, again, like in the spiritual closet, in my room, door closed, with like headphones on, and I would do like 45, 50, 60-minute meditations. And just,
from the beginning you started to that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it would start with like 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then I started to get into like the longer ones.
Yeah, eventually, like,
Yeah,
I
you,
kept getting longer. It was like going to the gym, right?
Yeah.
You start increasing your reps.
Yeah. And then you would get to the end of one of your meditations, and I was just like so relaxed, and I would just have like, I don't know, you'd say like downloads or realizations or like intuitive hits or stuff would just start to come through, and then it would just send you kind of like deeper down the rabbit hole. You're like, I gotta do more meditations.
Yeah.
This is so cool. Oh my God, like what's going on right now?
Yeah.
And then like reading more books. And then I also had a similar experience with like, it was in my sacral chakra though.
Yeah.
Like it just like blew open. Like, I don't know if it was like a chakra. What did you say? Heartgasm? Or, but like in your sacral chakra.
It's like energygasm.
Yeah. Something like that. And something like blew out of there. And I was started to have all these weird, like out of body experiences where suddenly like I was having a nap one day, but I was like watching myself having a nap.
Yeah.
I started to get really like scary sleep paralysis demons actually, which was like kind of freaky. Have you ever had that?
I have, but it didn't freak me out.
Really?
Yeah, I had because I knew I had the knowledge, I had the awareness of that stuff.
Yeah.
And at that point in my spiritual journey, I was a little bit more advanced, so it wasn't new and like freaky. At that point, I had been already journeying and astral projecting, like intentionally doing all that stuff, so that when I got into that space of kind of being in between worlds, I had the awareness like, okay, this is my body and this is where I am. Let's just play with this. And I would play with that, and some weird stuff did happen.
So you're playing with paralysis demons.
Oh, sorry, not the demon, but like in the paralysis state. Sorry.
Okay.
Like I haven't experienced the demon, but I've experienced the paralysis state, and I think it's only because I've been so relaxed in that state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I started having like sleep paralysis nightmares and like demons and stuff like that. Just like all these weird things, synchronicities. Like you start seeing the numbers, and then you start like all of this starts to happen. And then from there it just like kept going.
I felt so alone in the beginning. I felt a little like I was a lone wolf kind of traveling outside of the pack.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have anyone. So in the beginning, I knew like it wasn't scary, but it's like I felt like I had to hide it.
Yeah, totally.
And I think for anyone that's beginning, just knowing that like there's so many people that are in that kind of like spiritual realm that want to do meditation, that want to heal, that want to do better for themselves, and don't have to hide it.
Yeah. I think for me it was a big fear of like judgment too. Like I had friends that I did tell that were really close to me that it was like, that's weird. Like, oh, you're weird. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And then how do you even answer that? Because you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I have no idea what I'm searching for. I don't know what's out there. I have no idea, but I just know that there's something else there that I need to like look into. So yeah, for me it was like a big fear of the judgment as well. And like I said before, I literally would hide all my books when people came over to my house. Like they would like go into a closet because I was like, I didn't want people to see them and then like ask me like, oh, what is this? And I just be like, I don't know. Just hide it all.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, maybe it was judgment that I was afraid of. To me it feels more like acceptance. Like I feel like they wouldn't be able to accept me, but I guess there's a layer of judgment, but it definitely did. It really had this piece of like, I'm doing something differently, and they won't understand me, or kind of more like that. Like
that definitely makes sense too. And you realize like as you continue on like learning and experiencing and doing that stuff, you will typically lose a lot of those people. So it's like that
there's
sense.
a knowing that that's going to happen. For sure.
Because one, it doesn't resonate anymore, and two, you're just essentially like you're doing this with like the friends you used to have. It's just like you.
Yeah, totally. And that's exactly how it was meant to be. It's like if someone, as you know, because everyone I feel like has a deeper understanding of like if you're a friend with someone or you're a family member or you just have deep love for someone and you're growing into your better self, and they're no longer resonating with that, or they don't agree with that, or they don't love you anymore, then they clearly were never your person. Like that was not love. That wasn't true friendship.
And what you realize too is when you look back, it's like you were probably acting in like kind of a facade anyways, and that's why you have those people in your life, is
take
because
your mask off.
Hello. You've like created this like vision of you for the world to see that isn't really you, and then when you start to show the real you, then this life goes away and like this life shows up and you get to like actually live your authentic life.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing too to say that like through my own spiritual journey, and I feel like any spiritual journey, it is really about coming into deeper relationship with your truer self, however that looks, and also just like life around you.